Now, a district court in South Korea has granted major legal relief to impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol, who has been at the epicenter of a major political crisis ever since his short-lived martial law order plunged the country into chaos. In a judgment, the court has now cancelled the arrest warrant against Yoon. Announcing their decision, the court questioned the legality of the arrest warrant. The order also detailed observations on two agencies being involved in the probe and questioned why an indictment order was passed after Yoon's initial detention period expired. The latest ruling increases the possibility for Yoon to be released from detention. However, the timing of his release is unclear. As prosecutors are expected to appeal this verdict, the law in South Korea allows for a suspect to remain in custody for that duration. But the court order does not absolve Yoon of all crimes. His verdict is still pending on another critical case. Yoon Suk-yeol is awaiting the verdict in the impeachment case that will determine if the president's suspension and impeachment is valid. While hearing in the case has been completed, the judgment by South Korea's Constitutional Court will determine if Yoon returns as president. Experts feel the chances of that happening are low. Many lawmakers are calling for constitutional amendments irrespective of what the judgment might be.
Even if Yoon Suk-yeol is returned to the presidency, that there should be constitutional reform to shorten his presidency so that there would be an election soon. Formally, by the Constitution, that is not required. If the Constitutional Court finds him innocent, finds that the impeachment was invalid, he is returned to the presidency and can finish out his full 5-year term. He's now about 2 years into his term, and so he still has 2 years left. This has happened before. In 2004, there was an impeachment in South Korea. It was a very partisan experience. The Supreme Court, the Constitutional Court, found it to be too partisan and released the president, sent him back to the presidency, and he completed the term in full. Yoon is formally entitled to that. He has been saying in his defense during the trial that he would shorten his term through constitutional reform. He would agree to a 4-year presidential term, which would get him out of office in a year. But, he might be saying that just to placate the court. Once he gets back into office, if he does, again, constitutionally, he's entitled to complete his term. So it's kind of hard to know. In my opinion, yes, I think it would be a good idea if they had that reform so that there was an earlier election. Yoon has become a hugely polarizing figure. But again, he's not required to by law.
In a scenario where court upholds Yoon's impeachment, the law requires South Korea to conduct elections within 3 months, with the ruling party's president impeached and many senior leaders also under spotlight for their role in the martial law debacle. Analysts feel the People Power Party might lose the election.
If he is removed, and I think he will, I think the chances of that are probably over 80%, again, because basically the whole world watched the coup on TV, right? I mean, it was just right out there in the open. CNN was covering it, Korean news were covering it. I mean, if you were awake, the coup was around 11 p.m. If you were awake at midnight, I mean, you could see right there on Korean television, like I said, the helicopters landing. So I think he's out because the footage is so obvious. And because he is a conservative, my guess is that in the election which will succeed his removal, there has to be an election within 3 months of the removal of an impeached president. That would put the election probably in June. And yes, I think it will be a wipeout of the right, of the conservatives. I think the progressives will win a large majority. I think that's one reason why the pro-Yoon protesters on the street are fighting so hard, because they know, and they guess correctly to my mind, that they will lose an election this summer. And so they're fighting hard to keep winning that.
For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.